Saludos amigos, los invitamos a escuchar La Mesa Redonda, The Round Table, donde discutimos los temas del día, hablando de política, educación y otros temas, locales, regionales y mundiales, por USA la Radio. Señoras oyentes de USA la Media, estamos aquí con su programa La Mesa Redonda, The Round Table, desde el corazón de Bol Hispano en la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero. Tenemos aquí dos invitados especiales. Joel Guerrero.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
And Anthony Díaz.
Hola.
Hola. Bueno, hablan español los dos, ¿no?
Un poco.
¿Sí?
Un poco.
Okay, we can switch back and forth.
Okay.
So, and the reason you're here is because Tana asked me to invite her to the show to speak about the play.
Mm.
And what is the play?
The name of the play is called Oedipus el Rey.
Oedipus el Rey. So, so Spanglish.
Yeah, it's a very bilingual. This one's actually very accessible to both English and Spanish-speaking audiences.
Because otherwise it would be Edipo el Rey,
¿Verdad? Sí.
or Oedipus the King.
Edipo, yes, sí, correct.
Right?
From the Greek tragedy, that's right.
From a Greek tragedy, yes. We have heard about the Oedipus complex.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yes, of course.
So what is the Oedipus complex? Who wants to tell us?
So the Oedipus complex, I think, is a psychology term that has to do with like people being attracted to their own moms, or
Yes, right.
or like wanting a figure like your mom because she represents, the women in your life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
According to that complex, people who suffer from unusual attachment to their moms are suffering from this
Yes.
Correct.
Oedipus complex. And it makes their lifelong decisions about women very difficult.
Very, very difficult.
So, this is one more presentation of Teatro del Sol.
Correct.
And that's Tanaquín Márquez, Yajera Paredes, Jose Rivera? Jose Avilés, excuse me. And they're the founders of the theater. And now, what is the role? Joel, what role do you play in the theater?
So I'm an actor for Teatro del Sol for this show under a contract, but I play the role of Tiresias. So I am. I don't want to give too much away, but I guess everybody kind of knows Oedipus. Yo soy el padre de Oedipus. Well, to an extent, in the Greek tragedy, Laius, the king, he hears this prophecy that he's going to be killed at the hands of his own son.
Mm-hmm.
So when his son is born, he decides to send him away and have him taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And I play the man who was, and they refer to me as Tiresias el más loyal. So I was his right-hand man. And in this adaptation, it takes place very much in like this L.A. or East Coast prison. So I play this guy that basically raises Oedipus hidden away from Laius. So I take him in as my son instead of killing him. So through Oedipus's life, he kind of learns that it's a lie, and that's how he actually ends up with his own mom, is because I've lied to him and told him that my wife is his actual mother. So I play very much that father figure.
Okay. And Anthony?
I'm going to be playing Creon. I'm also an actor with Teatro. And my role is kind of Oedipus's friend, also Jocasta, his mother's brother. But I'm somebody who grew up with. So I'm like a very close, I have a very close relationship with him. And when he gets out of prison, I'm one of the first people who meets him and kind of greets him in the world and kind of gives him a place to crash and helps him out. But I'm kind of very entitled. I think like the world belongs to me. I think the crown belongs to me.
You're a millennial?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. So I didn't have to get into character too much for this.
Right.
But yeah, so he comes from a place of entitlement, and Oedipus kind of shows up and throws his whole world he flips it upside down because Creon believes that everything that's given to Oedipus belongs to him. So it's a very adversarial relationship between the two.
Yeah, I have one of those millennials. He's 27 years old, 28. Anyway, so this is it's a myth. This whole Oedipus thing that has survived 3,000 years.
It goes back to the Greek tragedy. To Sophocles' Greek tragedy. So,
interesting how so many plays and dramas have captured the stories from the Greek era, so that we sort of recycle these stories in different versions. But I mean,
for sure, I think one of the biggest reasons that is because one of the things of the Greek, the old Greek myths and things, they stuck around because they had a lesson to be learned. That was kind of their way of passing on morals and things like that. So it's a great way to take a base and a great story that's obviously great because it survived for so long, and adding new colors and new ways of life and looking at it, which is kind of what this Oedipus really does. It takes this Greek tragedy, which is usually done in, different ways, but it completely paints it in a Chicano lifestyle, what it's like to be brought up in a, what I would consider drug-ridden and low-income situation, and like what's the stuff that's thrust upon them, and then we just take the lessons that Oedipus learns and apply these kind of lifestyles on them. So it is easy to kind of morph and paint them in different ways, which is one of the reasons why they've stuck around for so long.
Because they're eternal themes, and
very much so.
Human emotions of jealousy and what we call the Oedipus complex. Obviously, is something that is it has been repeated over the ages. I mean. Any generation, any society, it's not limited to the Greeks. Obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
It obviously struck a chord. It's still around.
Obviously, it's one of those universal themes. Well, it's great to have a theater that is dedicated to promoting both drama. Whatever stories and Spanish at the same time, because this is a bilingual theater, no?
For sure. Yes. Teatro del Sol really focuses on taking those Latin new works, classic works, and really spreading that kind of art. There's nothing really, I don't think there's another theater company that does this for Latinx communities in Philadelphia. And, you see these groups popping up. I know of a few in Philadelphia. There's an Asian Performing Arts Coalition. I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but there's one for them. And there's these groups that are popping up and saying, like, we're a group of people who share a common belief and a common history. Let's tell our stories in our way. Which sometimes classic playwrights maybe didn't do the best at grasping. You know what I mean? A lot of past playwrights tended to be old white men, so they told it from that lens.
That's right.
So it's nice to see Latinx playwrights coming out and taking classics like Oedipus and changing the lenses, if you will, changing the glasses, the way you look at it.
It's really great. One of the most fascinating things that Luis Alfaro has done is to take some of these themes that are present in the Greek tragedy and modernize them and make them unique to the issues that we face today, like mass incarceration, which is one of the biggest themes in the show, and to kind of bring things to light that you would never think could be done with the original Greek tragedy.
Right.
And have nothing to do with it. But.
Well, I want to look at these themes more in depth, but we have reached the end of this segment. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back. So no se vayan, estamos aquí en USA la Media, la mesa redonda, the round table. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero, Joel Guerrero, and Anthony Diaz with us. Regresamos en un momento. That was a mouthful to say.
Very nice. Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't mess it up.
Did you? No. That was nice, that mass incarceration.
Hello, my name is Sheila E. Armstrong, and I'm a candidate for the 2nd Congressional District. The reason why I'm the best candidate for the 2nd Congressional District is because I am on the ground doing the work. As your community congresswoman, I'm committed to go door by door and neighborhood to neighborhood, to address the issues in our community. For instance, one issue that is concerning to me is the gun violence. The day is January the 16th, and the city of Philadelphia has 22 murders, which is more than the days in a year. This is not right. And you deserve to live in a city and a community that is safe. As your community congresswoman, I will work diligently to fight for you, the people. My name is Sheila E. Armstrong, and I am the best candidate for the 2nd Congressional District. Thank you.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it.
Thank you, Ms. Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift.
50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Señores oyentes de Usa la Media, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda. Les habla Fernando Mendez desde la ciudad del amor fraternal. En el corazón del barrio hispano se ha unido a nosotros Kelly Lee.
Hola.
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días.
And we were in a conversation already with Joel Guerrero and Anthony Diaz from Teatro del Sol. And we were talking about the new play they're staging now. It's called Oedipus El Rey, Oedipus King.
That's right.
And as we were saying, it's a bilingual theater, so it's a way to promote both the arts and the language at the same time, the culture. And I saw another one they just did recently. The women from Havana.
Good Cuban Girls.
Yeah.
Good Cuban
Good Cuban
Girls. That
Girls.
was excellent.
It was.
And you got good reception. Yeah. And so this is it's right up your alley because you are okay. Yeah, Kelly Lee, you have a long title that I won't even dare try.
Yeah. So the titles are inversely proportional to your
To the
importance,
importance.
right? So I have a very long title, but I'm happy to be here. I'm Kelly Lee, and I am the Chief Cultural Officer for the City of Philadelphia, and breathe, the Executive Director of the Office of Arts, Culture, and the Creative Economy.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Those are the kinds of titles you find in Banana Republic when they try to describe the president. Excelentísimo señor presidente, jefe del ejército, las Fuerzas Armadas. That's great. We're happy to have you here, Kelly, because it fits in this context, since we're talking about the arts. And you and I had a recent contact regarding the Amor sculpture.
Exactly.
And, you have been instrumental in promoting some of the arts in Philly right now.
Yeah,
So.
that's the primary focus of what we do all day, every day. So we are here to support and promote the arts, culture, and the creative industries in Philadelphia. But we spend the majority of our time and resources sort of what we call closing the gap in access to the arts and cultural experiences. And we also, so I'm really excited to learn more about sort of their theater program, because we try to link sort of arts organizations and artists to opportunities and resources.
Nice.
And then what Fernando was making reference to with the Amor sculpture is that our office is responsible for commissioning and then caring for the 1,100 pieces of public art, the sculptures around the city.
Wow.
So that's the reason why I have a long title. We do a lot. We do a lot. Yeah.
No, because you're very important.
That's
You
right.
have a long title. I want to talk a lot more about what you're doing, but in this context, we will both learn a little bit more about Teatro del Sol.
Mm-hmm.
And we were discussing sort of an interesting topic about all the themes in this case, the Oedipus complex, which is a universal theme, and we have recycled what the Greeks wrote 3,000 years ago, and we keep doing it through different eras, different cultures.
Yeah, different mediums. You
Different
get,
mediums.
You get movies that are actually tellings of new story or of old stories, just with new character names. But the same. It always leads back to those morals and the ideals that these characters are presented with. That I think we're also trying to pass the same information along. That's how we survived for so long. That we want to teach our children that there is such thing as fate. There is such thing as hard work and determination and dreaming and things like that. And we got to paint it a little different for every generation to understand it a little bit differently, which is, I think, is very kind of what we're learning in today's world.
Right. How do you reinterpret sort of older plays to make them relevant to younger audiences today, right?
Exactly. But still relevant to some of those older generations that are still around. So it's fun for everyone. And I think that's something that's big in Oedipus. I don't want to say it's for everyone, because I will say the language is rough. There are some situational situations that you may not want to bring your child to, but I think it's a great telling of a story that it's going to span. Everybody else is going to take something different from it.
So, but you changed the script from the original Greek?
It's not in Greek, correct? And in fact, it's very. I would say it's contemporary. It's modern. It's like I said, the play itself takes place on the East Coast. It starts off, and we're all in prison, and it's talking about Oedipus. He was born, and he. Found himself in the youth authority, so he was always in juvenile detention. At his 17th birthday, he literally robbed a Costco just because he didn't know any other world, so he had to get back to what was comforting, which was that structure that prison and the system provides. So it tells that story. So no, the original Greek Oedipus was not in prison, no, not at all.
But this is the fate of immigrants in the Trump era in this country.
Correct. So. And one of the biggest things in this one too is kind of that idea of fate. And Oedipus is released from prison in the show. I, playing his father, I've gotten myself locked up just to raise him in prison, but he gets out before me, and I hope that everything good that I put into him, he's going to carry into the world. And you find that fate ends up drawing him back to the original cards that were dealt to him, so it's kind of that idea of people who are born in these low-income situations. Sometimes they're forced into situations that they don't want to find themselves in, and that leads to different styles of life, and then boom, you're now a stereotype, and you're something that people are using against you. Thanakia, one of our director, was telling us, how she talked with some students that she was teaching, and she said, where do you see yourself? What do you want to do when you get older? Right. And some of them were like, well, I'll probably drop out, because I'm probably gonna have to help my mom, or she's a single mom. So that fate, she was in school, she had goals and dreams as a kid, but she already knew where fate was taking her. Is it possible to bend that fate? Is it possible to get out of that? To deal yourself a new hand, if you will?
But,
So
it's all about destiny in a way,
destiny, exactly.
Nature versus nurture.
Right.
That's a big one.
Absolutely.
So we have one play to look forward to.
Absolutely. So give the dates that it's running.
So we actually preview this weekend. So tomorrow's actually our I guess Saturday morning is our final rehearsal, and then Saturday evening we have our first preview. Sunday we have a preview, and then we open officially on the 13th, Friday the 13th.
That's good luck, right?
But it's a fast-moving and visceral piece. There's a lot of stage combat, weapons, and blood. You can't do Oedipus without blood.
It's a Greek tragedy.
So can we give our listeners where they can get information, because what I saw from the schedule, you have different hours. You have 8 p.m. and you have 3 p.m.
Correct. So usually on Sundays you have our matinees, which are early shows. So the show is going to be at the
Hamilton Family Arts Center, connected to the Arden.
To the Arden.
To the Arden, yes. That's on 2nd Street and Arch.
Yes.
And so the evening shows, I'm trying to look up the information. The evening shows here You can get all their information on teatrodesol.org.
Yeah, that's better so people can access
cool.
that
So,
information.
teatrodesol.org. You can also access them through the Ardens website because Teatro de Sol is the theater in residence currently at the Ardens, so they're connected as well there.
That was quite a coup for Teatro del Sol to get that space.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
It's
And
a wonderful.
They're great
Coveted by-
partners.
Yeah.
The Ardens Theater
And it's
Company.
a wonderful place to perform.
Yeah.
It's not a very large space, so it's very intimate. It only seats, I believe, 60 to 70 people. So get your tickets because they're going to go fast. I think once the word gets out, they're going to go.
How much are the tickets?
$20. You can check online. There's also, I believe, industry rates and things like that. You can get all that information on Teatro de Sol.
You have student
Prices, I believe, yes. And you can purchase the tickets online. It is general seating, so you're going to want to get there so that you get those good seats. But it's thrust theater, so you sit on 3 sides, so there's really not a bad seat in the house.
No. We
Yeah.
perform to everyone equally.
Yeah.
It's a very intimate venue. Yes,
Yeah.
I have,
It is. You get
so-
every little detail.
Yeah, and what we can do is we can subsidize 30 tickets. So if anyone
Uh-huh.
wants to go
There we
for
are.
free, like
Wow.
they want to have that experience, and cost may be a
Yes.
barrier. So contact our office and we'll work with you guys to underwrite 30 tickets.
Oh, that is
That's
wonderful.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
It's part of sort of what we do, right? Trying to
Yeah.
provide access and the themes that you're talking about are so universal.
Oh, of course.
And introducing, sort of Spanish-speaking audiences who may not feel welcomed in other theaters in your performance. If we
Yeah.
can support that, we're all
Yeah.
in.
And this show does not alienate anyone language-wise. Like, it's for English and speaking audiences. I mean, come in and you're going to understand, I promise.
Yeah, well, that's one of the
Promise.
brilliant things that the playwright does is that there is Spanish used, but it's very contextual. And even like when we do speak Spanish words, we typically use a word after it, or there's a sentence that kind of gives the full meaning. And
Who's the playwright?
Luis Alfaro.
Luis Alfaro.
Yes, and it's it's just such a
Is he a
wonderfully
local?
written show.
A local playwright?
No,
I
he's not a
believe-
local playwright, but this is one of those plays. It's fairly new. And it's not been produced much, so I'm really hoping that this can get the word out about
Yeah.
these type of plays,
Right,
and
right,
Latinx playwrights.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to go see this play now. So, very quickly, because we got into the topic without asking you who you are.
Oh, yeah.
So, Joel, first, about a little bio.
Yeah. So my name is Joel Guerrero. I'm originally from San Angelo, Texas. So I'm from the South. I've been up here for about 7-8 years. I met my wonderful wife here in Philadelphia. And I've been working in the scene since I got here. I've been doing theater myself since I was 15, 16 years old, so almost 20 years now. So this is the first time that I've ever worked with a fully Latinx company
Great.
and cast. So it's been a wonderful experience. And
Well, were you a clown in high school?
I was, yeah. I typically do all of the funny roles. So this is actually really different. I get to, see people get murdered on stage, and it's very different. But yeah.
So all your childhood dreams coming true.
Exactly.
He lives up to it too. He's hilarious.
Anthony? Same?
Yeah, so I'm also a local Philadelphia actor. I grew up in Philadelphia as well. I'm going to be graduating from Rutgers in a few months with my degree in theater in English, and this is also it's my first professional show.
Your debut.
Yeah, my debut,
Yeah.
and it's also it's a lot of firsts for me actually. It's also my first with a Latin company, which has been just incredible. They've made me feel so at home, and everyone is so professional but also so welcoming, and it's I couldn't have thought of a better first show to have.
What was the first thing you did in theater?
In theater, in general, I was a background character on Miracle on 34th Street, and I played the heck out of it. yeah, smiled it up.
Where was this?
Oh, this was in high school. Yeah, I was a freshman. I auditioned with a monologue I had memorized maybe 5 minutes before. I had no idea that this was going to be the path that I was going to take, but I couldn't be happier for it.
Right. And Joel, what was the first thing you did?
I played Wilbur the Pig in Charlotte's Web. And I was in high school, yeah.
Yeah. And you were also a clown in high school, or were you serious?
Not so much. I was a little more reserved, a little more quiet. Yeah. So when you saw me on stage, it was a bit different than when you saw me in the hallway.
Yeah.
And the theater helped to get you out of your shell to make you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, there's no place feels like home like the stage.
I've even done some like theater and acting for business classes because it just kind of gets you okay in front of being in front of a crowd and how to speak publicly. So
It's funny how it can happen that way, like almost overnight.
Oh, yeah.
I was also a very shy kid. I mean, I was in a choir, in the school choir. It was like 100 people, and I thought everybody was looking at me. And I was like, and then ended up doing a play for the school, and that was the beginning of no more shyness.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was the choir librarian. I had no creative skills whatsoever. And I went to one of those schools where everyone had to participate, and if they make you the librarian, that means you really can't sing. I think they created the role just for me.
just for you.
That's right. Well, señores, estamos aquí en Usa la Media, la mesa redonda de Round Table. Estamos en compañía de Joel Guerrero, Anthony Diaz, and Kelly Lee, who has a very long title. I can't even tell you what it is. And les habla Fernando Mendez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero. Regresamos en un momento con más de esta conversación muy interesante sobre el arte, el teatro, y Kelly nos va a contar qué más está pasando aquí en esta ciudad de Filadelfia. Regresamos en un momento.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high-five.
Señores oyentes de USA la Media, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda de Round Table desde el corazón del barrio hispano en la ciudad del amor fraternal. Joel Guerrero and Anthony Diaz from the Teatro del Sol. Mm-hmm. We had a conversation with him about the new play Oedipus El Rey, Oedipus King, and we'll ask him again for some information about how to get in touch with the organization to get tickets and so on. Mm-hmm. And then we have also a very important person in the city of Philadelphia, for the arts especially, Kelly Lee. And so Kelly and I are actually, we're friends outside of this context. And
neighbors, so he can't escape it.
And neighbors, yeah. I try to avoid her, but it's impossible. Now, Kelly, you always have new projects. You have all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah,
so
we
this
always
is your
have
time.
Yeah, we have a lot of things going on, but one of the things that I am most excited about is so April is Nationally Jazz Appreciation Month. So our office, we coordinate, it's called Philly Celebrates Jazz. It's the 10th anniversary that the city has been celebrating. We have a calendar of over 200 jazz events that are citywide. Wow. About 40% of them are free events, and we celebrate jazz in every way. So there's a lot of jazz music performances, there are jazz documentaries, there are art exhibits, there's jazz dance lessons, and for our 10th anniversary, we're doing something called the 10 Neighborhood Jazz Series, where in 10 neighborhoods, we're going to do a series of jazz events in different sort of community venues where we will be bringing sort of jazz artists who are performing at, one of the fancier clubs in Center City, but we are paying them to sort of do what they do in recreation centers and older adult centers and libraries. So the full schedule is on our calendar at creativephl.org, but we're having a kickoff event on March 26th in City Hall at 5:30, where the full calendar will be unveiled. We are also giving out 3 awards, one to Stanley Clark, who is a bassist and very, very well-known. We're giving him the Benny Golson Award. We're giving a local artist by the name of Lauren Talese, who's an amazing vocalist, the Philly Celebrates Jazz Award. And this year, because we're really trying to focus on sort of future generations of jazz, we're giving out for the first time the Jeff Duperon. And Jeff Duperon was a person who worked at WRTI, who passed away last year. And he was huge in Philadelphia's jazz community in terms of making jazz relevant to younger generations and making sure that it was available in the neighborhoods. So we are giving out the first Jeff Duperon Emerging Jazz Award to a student from Central. So those awards we'll be giving out on the 26th as a reception. All of the artists who are participating will be there. So everyone is welcome.
That's great.
So what is the website? PHL.org?
It's creativephl.org/jazz, and you can get the full calendar. But what we're most excited about is that jazz is sort of seen as Philadelphia is a jazz city. Philadelphia is known for all of these jazz greats. But getting sort of younger generations excited about jazz has not been the easiest. But when you think about jazz and how it's just this, immersion of different types of genres, and people can interpret jazz through their own sort of unique lens, or whether or not they're whatever sort of music they're interested in, we are excited that we have jazz celebrations and jazz performances. Like, no matter what you're interested in, there is something for everyone, for all ages as well.
I guess along with country music and rock, jazz is so representative of American culture too.
Absolutely, it started in here in
New
the
Orleans
U.S.
is it's a great place to visit for jazz.
Yeah.
Fantastic venues in New Orleans. So that's great. Anything else?
Yeah, so, we do stuff all year round. Like last year, we had 89 sort of free neighborhood performances. So we're focused on jazz right now because it's April. But in a couple of months, we will be promoting our performances in public spaces. So we pay artists to do what they do all day, every day in parks and plazas around the city. So we have 3 main programs. We have performances in public spaces, when we pay artists to do performances in parks and plazas. We have culture in neighborhoods, where we pay artists to do what they do every day, all day, in the recreation centers, libraries, and in some of the community schools and older adult centers. And then we have something called Creative Avenues, where if you are running your own sort of block party in any neighborhood, but you want a cultural component, we will pay for that cultural component. So if you want an artist to come and do art making for kids, or you want live music, as long as it's a Philadelphia-based artist or arts organization, we will pay for that. For the other 2 are doing programs in the communities, and the Creative Avenues is our way of supporting sort of community-driven art initiatives. So all of that information, again, is on our website. So we're going to launch Jazz Appreciation Month, the 10th anniversary, and then we will soon be announcing the performances in public spaces schedule.
Well, that's terrific.
We have lots going on. Yeah.
Now, Kelly, since we asked the 2 gentlemen for their brief bios, so why don't we get a little bit of yours?
Jeez. So, I had to answer this question a lot when I started this position, like, how did I get here? Because I'm not your typical leader of an arts organization. I told you about my creative skills. I was the librarian, right? But I've always sort of been behind the scenes. So actually starting with the librarian. And then in college, I worked at the Annenberg Performing Arts Center doing marketing for the student performing arts groups. And then my whole life, I only had to know one product, which has been Philadelphia, and I managed to milk it for some really good jobs. So I'm going to totally date myself, but I used to work for the city during the Rendell administration, working for it's called the Mayor's Business Action Team. And our job was to promote the city in order to attract businesses. Wow. And one of the things that attracts businesses is the quality of life, and the arts is a big part of that, right?
Definitely.
No CEO is going to move their business to a place they don't want to live, and the arts is a huge driver of that, right?
Yeah.
And then I was at the convention center where I was director of communications, and my job was when all those people came to the building to promote the city, to get them out of the building, to spend their money,
Into the city.
to go to our restaurants, go visit our arts venues, go hear our live music, and get them to come back then as tourists, right? And then, geez, this is getting too long.
No,
Okay,
no,
good.
please.
Then
That's
I was,
what we ask you.
Yeah, then I was regional director of economic and business development for Pico Energy.
Wow.
And utility companies are the largest sort of main people who do economic development. And it was the same job that I had at the city, like my same product. I've milked it again, right? But instead of attracting businesses to Philadelphia, it was to the region. But again, it was all about quality of life and knowing the art scene in Philadelphia in order to be able to showcase and celebrate all that was good about Philadelphia. And then I worked at a nonprofit called Innovation Philadelphia, and I was focused on the for-profit creative industries. So I always knew the nonprofit side because I was promoting it for the previous 3 jobs.
Yeah.
But then sort of measuring the for-profit side, the graphic designers, the engineers, website designers, like all of these people. So I got to know the for-profit side, and it's a huge industry in Philadelphia. It's a $3.4 billion industry in Philadelphia, $157 million in tax revenue in Philadelphia. So all of the work that you're doing and are doing in terms of doing sort of cultural programming in the neighborhoods, not only are artists being supported, but also we're making sure that everyone can take part in this big industry, right? It's not just, people who have access or people who have means or can get there via transportation. So that's sort of my background. And this job is being the chief cultural officer for the city is this perfect convergence of all of those things because I understand the arts from an economic development point of view, attracting businesses, talent retention, because now millennials, one of the reasons why they are attracted to Philadelphia is the art scene, right? So, talent retention, and then also just the impact on families and communities.
That's an impressive resume. So, Kelly for mayor.
No,
can we announce
but I do work for the best mayor ever. In case you're listening, Mayor Kinney.
There you go.
Oh boy. What do you think of the because there is a renaissance that we cannot. You probably have experience in terms of restaurants, in terms of the theater that we and jazz. You just mentioned music, and you mentioned everything seems to be making this a very attractive city.
It really is.
Unfortunate because I don't want more people to come.
Well, it's funny. I was late for this program, and one of the reasons is that trying to come up North American Street, there are 3 different detours that you have to get off and come back on. And I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised, and it's always been slowly getting better, right? But on the last 5-6 years, it's been on steroids. Like every neighborhood is under development. There are cranes everywhere. The arts are a huge part of that. And what I love about Philadelphia too is that in any community, you can live. You can have access to the arts in your community and go to a quality restaurant in your community. You don't necessarily have to come to the downtown anymore because it's all over Philadelphia. Now there's a flip side to that, which is that where do people live who can't afford it? Because every neighborhood seems to be improving, which translates into becoming gentrified, and that's a huge challenge. And how do we balance that to make sure that if we're trying to make the arts accessible to all people, we need to make sure that there are people here to make it accessible for.
Exactly. Yeah. I live in the Maniac area, and I've been there for 7 years. And in that 7 years alone, I've seen it just blossom in what's available and the quality of what's available. So you can see it.
Yeah, Philadelphia is definitely a hot commodity, and it's been on so many lists of great places to visit, great places to live, and the arts sort of have put Philadelphia on the map as a national destination to live, work, and play.
Yes, there was a complaint in the Rendell administration about the fact that he was mostly concerned about Center City, because there was a big effort to sort of makes the city attractive.
Right, yeah.
But now it's all over the place.
Right. I mean, he was definitely the catalyst with the Avenue of the Arts. You know, the Kimmel Center sort of really got underway under his administration. But it's just been continuing. You know, it goes like this, right? With I'm moving my hands if anyone can't see me up and down. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Up and down. You know, with any economy, but I think with Philadelphia, because our economy is so diverse, we're not dependent upon one sector. So if there is a tank, Philadelphia has a dip, but not as far down as some other places that are dependent on one industry. We have more of a diversity here. So our improvement has been slow and steady.
But now we have probably won't take a beating now with this coronavirus. I think that it's all over the place, you know. And we haven't heard anything about Philly yet.
Yeah, knock on wood, everyone. There have been no cases in Philadelphia. You know, the city is, you know, definitely planning. Tom Farley, who's the health commissioner, has been providing all of the department heads with information. I think the city's priority is making sure that all, you know, people have access to information and facts, you know, and what to do, but also to make sure that, you know, God forbid, if it, you know, does become a huge issue in Philadelphia, that the city continues to function and the city continues to provide services to people. For sure. And we're concerned, you know, we have a lot in April, I have, you know, all of these events that we will be doing in public spaces. So we are paying close attention. And
so is there a site where people can access right now?
If you go to phila.gov on the home page, there is a link to, you know, on the coronavirus and what to do, and that site is constantly being updated. And there was a presentation to some city officials on Friday, and then another one yesterday, and the information has already changed. To get more details. But I think, you know, the city is doing everything it can do to prepare. And I think a lot of the cities are talking to one another in order to sort of share information and, you know, to get access to state and federal resources. So, again, knock on wood, but everyone just continue to wash your hands.
Wash your hands, yeah.
In most places, the local authorities are taking effective steps. I think one of the problems was that from the White House, we didn't get the right information to begin with. But I think that's
a given in any category, right?
Yeah, right.
It's just, you know, coronavirus. Yep.
Yeah. Sí, yeah. Something. Bueno, señores oyentes, hemos llegado al final de este segmento aquí en Usa la Media, la mesa redonda. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero. Estamos hablando con dos personas del teatro, aquí entre Joel Guerrero and Anthony Diaz, and a very VIP from Philadelphia in the arts, Kelly Lee. No se muevan, regresamos en un momento.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps. Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Because of you, I feel not alone in this world. And you let me know that it only takes one person to make you feel wanted.
Señores oyentes de Usa la Media, estamos aquí de nuevo con la mesa redonda de Round Table desde el corazón del barrio hispano en la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Méndez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero. Estamos en compañía de Joel Guerrero and Anthony Diaz from Teatro del Sol, and VIP Kelly Lee, who has a lot of information about what's going on in the city in the next few months, I guess. But the promotion of the jazz.
Philly
events,
Celebrates Jazz, the
Philly
10th
Celebrates Jazz.
anniversary.
10th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
25 events all over the city that we are doing. The Neighborhood Jazz Series, 25 free events.
And these are free events.
Yep.
And but you need tickets.
So for the free events that we are doing, they're in the 10 Neighborhood Jazz Series. You do not need tickets.
Okay.
It is free and open to the public. And all of the programming that I talked about previously, like all of the neighborhood-based programming, that is all free. I should have led with that. So for us, again, we are supporting artists and arts organizations by paying them, and we're providing access by making it available for free to people in their communities, in their neighborhoods where they live. But for the Jazz Appreciation Month calendar, the full calendar, it's all jazz events. But about 47% of them, almost 50%, are free events. But yeah, we're really, really excited about that.
Great. And again, information can be accessed.
Yep. So if you want access to the calendar, it's at creativephl.org. And the full calendar is there. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CreativePHL.
CreativePHL. And now for Teatro del Sol.
Yes.
We also need to convey some kind of information on how people can access.
Yeah, so all ticket information, locations, a quick excerpt of, what you're to expect can all be accessed on teatrodelsol.org. Like I said, they're also in residence with the Ardent, so you can also find information that'll link you over to Teatro del Sol's website on the Ardent's website. But for direct information, teatrodelsol.org.
Okay, so 2 actors here, and then a clown.
This
also.
is the non-talented side of the room.
So a question for you: how do you see your career evolving in the next, say, 5 years? Let's say 5 years from now.
When I was younger, I used to say, "Oh, I want to be on Broadway one day." That's how, that. And to most people, that's what makes an actor successful.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, I've learned that I'm able to do what I love and support my family and support my community and do different things with my passion and my art. And to me, that's success.
No need to go to New York.
No, I think I wanted to, and then I spent some time there, and I was like, nah, never mind, I'm good. Too many people. And Philadelphia, like you said, does have such a rich art scene. It's the way I always say, it's a small, tiny community, but there's so much passion and so much love there that it just puts out so much great work. Why go to New York when Philadelphia is this? It's got its own arts culture here,
And it's affordable.
And it's affordable,
right?
Exactly. Oh my God, Broadway tickets.
Yeah. So you can be an artist in Philadelphia and have own a home, support your family, be able to do other stuff because the city itself is so affordable.
Definitely.
So all you New York artists, come to Philly. We want you.
That's right. I have a really good friend.
We'll put you to work.
That's right. I have a really good friend who's on Broadway, and he works in Broadway and then takes a train and lives in New York and Philadelphia. So it's close enough, but yeah, it's rich. Yeah. It's rich, and I love to be a part of it.
I love
Anthony, same question.
Yeah, so it's kind of like developing and adapting because if you would have asked me a couple of years ago if I would have seen myself being a professional working actor, I would have said maybe on the side. I would have said that it wasn't necessarily something I thought of making a career out of. But the more that I've done theater, the more that I've met people who do make it a lifestyle and who do make performing in the arts something that they do as a day job and also something that they do because they love. And I think one of my favorite moments ever was when my roommate asked me where I was going, and I said work. But I was going to rehearsal. So, I could say that. And it was just like a lovely... I was like, oh, my God, this is, a dream come true.
A professional actor.
Yeah, getting paid to do what I love.
Yeah, exactly.
What a concept.
Exactly.
And, the more that I've been in Philadelphia, I mean, it's felt like home for a long time now. And it can remain that way. And I've met, more and more people who I've been seeing their faces more and more as well, and just people that I love to work with. And that's something I want to be able to continue to do, and like grow and kind of cultivate a career here as well, and maintain and network. And so I think in terms of where I'll be in 5 years, hopefully here and still working. Yeah.
I have a tangential association with 1812 Productions. It's a comedy theater, and Kelly knows them too. For the first time I hear the actors and Jen Childs, who's the CEO, saying that actors can actually live in Philly and have a life in acting. And not have a side job working at a restaurant serving tables. So it's great.
So thank you for contributing to our $3.4 billion industry.
Thank you for supporting it.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, you work so many times. Like, it's for exposure.
Right.
Unfortunately, I can't pay my bills in exposure.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear that there's support from the city and from whatnot that. Looking to support that actor pool. We appreciate that from all of us.
Kelly offered tickets. So will you repeat this offer?
Yeah. So the Office of Arts, Culture, and the Creative Economy, we will support and subsidize 30 free tickets to see El Rey, because it's something that we all need to see.
That's
and
right.
I can't wait to come. And to get the tickets, actually, why don't you contact the Art and Theater Company? We will give them some sort of code. And it's like a first come, first served basis. The first 30 people who contact them, wait until tomorrow, because the art and they'll just be hearing about this today. But starting tomorrow, we'll let them know, and we'll get a code up or something for people to get the 30 tickets.
Opening night is when?
So opening night officially is Friday the 13th.
Yes.
So why don't we start from there, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that works. Perfect.
And would this be 30 tickets a night or 30 tickets?
No, because even though it's a big industry, my budget's not that big. But no, 30 tickets. 30 tickets we will definitely underwrite.
And get them quick. It is a small, intimate space, so they will go fast. I promise you.
Do you have plenty of opportunities? We have the 13th until the 22nd.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah. But so you begin previews.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night.
So people can start going to.
Correct. Yeah. And tickets are available for those productions on teatrodeSol.org.
Yeah. So what is the capacity of the theater?
They haven't actually moved the seats in, but I heard them talking. I'm thinking 50 to 70, so it's not much, and there's not standing room, so it's gonna be a tight, intimate night.
It's a very
half of those seats will be Kelly's tickets.
Yeah.
We should have a Kelly night.
Exactly. There you go, for sure.
And
it's gonna be a wonderful experience. There's great stage combat done by Eli Lynn. I mean, it's a moving night. Come and check it out. It really is great.
So and the name of the play again?
Oedipus El Rey.
Oedipus El Rey. Oedipus King. Any plans for what's going to happen after Oedipus?
For myself, I'm directing a musical next, Matilda the musical, out at the Broadway Theater of Pittman, New Jersey. And so I'm doing auditions for that tomorrow as well. So it'll be a big time. Yeah.
Actors are always busy. I mean, Jen Childs is always. She has one play that she's writing, another play that she's working on, another play that she has to do for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
I don't know how they keep all that How do you keep all that in your head?
All the lines?
Yes.
So that's just repetition.
Yeah,
it is saying it in the shower, saying it as I go to bed tonight, at night.
And you're a student, too, so you have to keep all those lines in your head and your classwork.
Yeah, and sometimes it'll be, and because you're a theater student, your classwork is lines.
Yeah.
So you have to...
More lines.
Yeah, exactly. So you do develop like a methodology for kind of, memorizing those. And for me, it's just in the car, I don't even listen to music sometimes. I'll be driving on my way to rehearsal and, doing them over and over again. I get friends. I recruit a lot of friends to be like, hey, you mind just coming over? I'll buy pizza. Please just run these lines with me. And that's one of the biggest things that helps. But also having, lovely people who are also willing to work with you and help you as well. Yeah.
What happens if you forget a line?
That is, I wish I could say I didn't have any experience with that. So it depends on the show. So we recently did Hamlet at Rutgers, and the interesting thing, exactly, yeah, 'tis the question.
Do you do comedy?
Always dad
comedy.
dying dark.
Never thought about it. Yes, on occasion when it calls for it. But we have the clown right here. So, yeah. But so it depends. With Shakespeare, it's very difficult to ad lib. It's said that you can't ad lib Shakespeare, and to a degree that's kind of true. You're up there. If it's thine, just come up with something that sounds.
Everybody knows you messed up.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because some people who come see it, they are Shakespeare scholars, so they know it like the back of their hands. Yeah. So those are the people who you're really looking out for. But if you go up on the line. There really has to be, and that's part of the rehearsal process, is developing that kind of that communication, that nonverbal communication with other actors, that kind of flow in which you both understand the scene. So there's just that look that is terrifying.
It's called deer in the headlights.
Yeah. It goes from like a completely neutral or like acting face to a help me. and I've seen that face a couple times. So it's kind of, you get that scatterbrained effect of like, what do I do now? Where can we go to? And
Joe? How about you?
Same thing. You try to carry on. With this show, we speak a lot together in group in unison because you got the Greek chorus idea. So we know the show enough that we can help each other out. We try to as much as possible. Because when you're out there,
it's agony.
It is the most packed room, but you feel so lonely
when everyone's staring at you.
Clearly, you're
say
something.
We're having too much fun. We ran out of time, believe it or not.
Right.
So for the last minute that we have, again, Teatro del Sol.
Yep, teatrodelsol.org. Get your tickets for Oedipus El Rey.
Yeah, 13th to the 22nd.
It starts on the 7th tomorrow for previews, but official opening is on Friday, the 13th of March.
Okay.
And then for Jazz Appreciation Month, go to creativephl.org, or you can call 686-844-8446, and we can mail you a schedule.
The phone number again?
It's 215-686-8446.
Okay. And, thank you, all of you, for the very
thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you. Joel Guerrero, Anthony Diaz, Kelly Lee. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes, for sure.
Nos despedimos aquí en Usa la Media. Se despide Fernando Mendez, Johan Bermúdez al tablero. Los esperamos. Hasta la próxima.